All right, good morning, traders, and welcome to the All Markets live order flow analysis webinar here with me. I'm Bruce. Morning, trade, and we go through this content on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. This is for all markets as advertised here, and our goal here is to create this foundation of understanding order flow in any market, so you can apply these fundamentals to your trading and utilize it. And then we have many other events all day long. In fact, let me show you where you can find that. If you go to Bookmap, bookmap.com, and all the other events, click on the More button here, and then go to our Learning Center here. Okay, here you'll see courses. Getting connected, getting started, a market mechanics course that we go through all day long in this webinar here. But I wanted to show all the different streamers we have in our calendar. So these are all the different streamers we have for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. So we have quite a few events every day here. They are all free, and these are excellent traders in here. So depending on if in different languages as well, different market types, depending on what you're interested in. So we have the India market here. Pirate Traders with Charles is for futures. Again, all markets here with me. Paco for the Brazilian markets in Portuguese. And then Tom B, U.S. futures. Spanglish trades will be U.S. stocks and futures. Options with Doug. Will be stocks and futures as well, but mostly stocks. But Doug has a very interesting take on using order flow within his options strategies, and then rounds out the day here with the Algo Boys going over futures. Not just the stock indexes, but many markets here for the Algo Boys. They'll look at the grains, they'll look at the metals, whatever it might be. So anyway, just wanted to cover that for you. Let's go in and take a look and see what's happening today. Disclosure, general disclosure, all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. So let's jump in and what's going on here? Let's take our big step back here before we jump into order flow. Usually we just jump right into the order flow, but it being Monday and it being the start of a new month, let's take a bigger step back. We have a lot of data coming out. There's been some volatility, and October is known for volatility as well. So we want to really understand our bigger picture and some of the fundamentals in this market as well. Yeah, I'll make the argument that fundamentals is really what moves the market. I mean, it's actually orders. To be honest, it's the orders and order flow and what participants think of the market that matters. That's it. It's in the orders. However, a lot of the traders and investors that move the market are looking at the fundamentals, and that's just how it is. So we want to understand their movement and their actions. Yeah, we have this downtrend here until the 9 o'clock or so. We get a kind of a reversal here. It's not sustained so far. It's spiked up above this range here and failed, and coming back down into the range here. So anyway, that's what we see at the moment. Let's look at our daily here on the left. In the center, we have our hourly and 15-minute on the right, and talk about what our expectations are in the bigger picture. All right, bigger picture here. Well, you saw this was last week. And the move down and then the move below the big range here, and then it's still down below and closing below this bigger range up above here. Okay, this is bearish. All right, so we're looking for if we can get a continuation of this move now that is outside and seems to be accepting outside of this big range. Now, let me just talk about what that means in the bigger picture here. Is that we have a lot of volume and back and forth up in this range up here. Right? Let me use the pen tool here. I think it would be better. It's this range. Hold on. It's this range up here. Okay, a lot of price action. This is significant that we have broken that range, and we are accepting higher or lower now. And now because it has broken this, we'd be targeting next levels that it might test. Okay, because look at this move to the upside in here. Now we're below this area here, and we seem to be accepting. So we're looking for a test back down to here. And then maybe this is another little area of consolidation and range here. Come back to kind of most traded level there, or the lows here of that range. Right, you can see the wicks down here in this range here. So that's where the lows are, and that's where we found buyers that made this move possible here to the upside. Okay, so if we're going to accept lower here, then these are the areas we're looking for a test. All right, so let's jump over to the well, let's mention one thing here about the daily still is we are within the last period here, last daily period. So we are within the range right now. Okay, so we're not seeing a trending market here until we break the low here and then start to trend lower. Right, so looking for a retest of those lows would be something we'd be looking for today. Okay, because we are in the range. So basically the highs and lows from the previous session here and here are something we're going to be looking for. All right, and how the market trades within this area to go test those areas. All right, so looking at the hourly here, we can see the back and forth, the move up, that we had a gap, we have a move down, and we're kind of chopping around in here. Again, these swings up in here is what we're looking at, and it's that is the day from the other day. So we'll you know, we want to keep an eye out on that. And what do we see so far? Well, this has been good momentum to the downside, and now we're just kind of chopping around. So that leads us to the 15-minute chart. And where are we? Okay, so we are within this price action, as you can see. Here's where we opened down here. Okay, and there was a gap. That gap has already been filled. You see the spike above it here. Okay, and then we're going to talk about acceptance and rejection again, similar to the acceptance and rejection over here. Okay, so this rejected. We see the big wick. We know that there's sellers up here, and they are selling. Okay, we know that there's buyers down here. So right now, we're just looking at this kind of range in here, and the bottom or low of the day in here. Okay, so that's really all I see right now, and we want to see who's winning the battle within this range to see where they might go and test. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions, but that's what I have at the moment. And then let's jump into Bookmap. So Bookmap in the order flow, what is it telling us right now? Well, we see that down here at 43.10, we have some support. We have liquidity in the order book here. And we tested it down here. Okay, it traded into it here. It was filled, it looks like. We see the big transaction. We also see icebergs down here. So we know larger players are interested down here as well. And then we see the buyers come in. Okay, that stopped that move to the downside. And we see a nice move kind of back up here right before the cash open, and then 9:30 cash open, really nice momentum move to the upside. Okay. And then it all failed right back down below the open here, below the swing at the open, and then it's right back up. Okay. It broke the high up here, and then it's right back down. It is trending up here for the day, as we can see in the structure. but we're not really seeing too much out of it here, getting too much out of it. Okay, so we have this kind of range right now that has a bullish slant to it, but that's about all we've got. Right? So let's take a look at the volume and also the order flow, the limit buy and sell orders within here as well. So we have a lot of limit sell orders here that transacted, but buyers trade right through it. When we see this, we look for the next level, and it traded to the next level of liquidity up here, and it didn't quite make it up here. Okay, we get our pullback, and then we see the at 10 o'clock here, which is some data as well. We had our ISM manufacturing purchasing managers index. We see the move back up, okay? And then the move right back down. So not getting too much out of this. What about, we know there's high liquidity up here. It transacted up here as well, and it came up a little bit above it, but failed. Okay, the breakout here failed. So we're back in the range. What about the volume? Well, at the open, we always have pretty high volume, as no difference here. And then we can see some selling coming back in, but we see the selling start to pick up in this area in here. But for the most part, it still seems to be more buyers than sellers in here. In fact, we can verify that in a couple different ways here within Bookmap. We can use this tool here, zoom by drag, and go from 9:30 cash open to 10:20 or 10:15 here. We can look at our order book imbalance and volume imbalance, and the volume is just slightly to the upside here, 3%. That's it. So yeah, it's really kind of back and forth in here. And order book imbalance here. Well, let's go do that again here. Our order book imbalance. Yeah, well, we see some liquidity up here at 43.30. That's kind of skewing the order book here. So it's at negative, well, quite a bit negative at the moment. Okay, as aggressors are coming up toward these areas of high liquidity. Another way to look at this and start to understand the volume within here, very simply, is look at the cumulative volume delta. In fact, let's take off stops and icebergs for a moment and take a look at it. All right, so what do we see in cumulative volume delta? Not too much. I mean, we made a higher high here. There is some divergence there. I'm sorry, not really. It did make a higher high here also in CBD. We're making higher lows in here. We're making higher lows in here. Okay, some divergence in here is what we can see. And let me talk about what I mean by divergence and how to read that within the transactions. So there was more sellers in here, and they made a lower low. Here to here, they made a lower low. However, here in CVD, which just calculates the aggressor and adds them up, that's it. That's all it does. It's from here to here is the equal low, right? So there's the divergence there between the CVD and price action. So what this means is within this area here, although it went down and made the low here, in cumulative volume delta, there's more buying in here that made it an equal low. That's all it means. Okay, so what does that mean for us? Well, there's still more buyers in here basically, right? So seeing this kind of move back up to retest this area up in here makes some pretty good sense that we'd look for that. In fact, I still see more buyers in here, right? And you can see it with the volume dots in here. So this is a consideration for using your CVD to understand the overall kind of within a range the volume, if that makes sense. Good morning, everybody. Let me get to the questions here. I've been rambling and make sure that I'm covering everything. Good morning, Paul, Eloise. All right, Jimmy. Yusha. Over in Discord. Good morning, Slowdown. Stan, Stephen, and D. Okay, yeah, yeah. So yeah, Stephen, really good to see you in here, and I hope that I wanted to mention this to people. Like we have a recording of the meet. We have this Bookmap Academy. It's part of it's free. It's open to all. I want to show that to you because we had a meeting the other day, and Stephen, who's in here, we covered some of his trading activity and his content. Okay, so hold on. Let's just take a look at this before I get to that Bookmap Academy. We're starting to see this drop, and what I wanted to cover in here is this CVD. Okay, and I was going to get to trap volume and CVD using CVD. Okay, because this would be a trap in here. We covered traps on Friday. So let's see if we can get this here. Now I'm looking for a break of this low into this liquidity down here at 15 or maybe at 10. Okay, because this has been, a lot of buying in here, but it really didn't move the market much higher here. And we noted that the buying in here as well, we made a lower low here. So we want to kind of understand this divergence in here. And what I was going to look for before this started to unfold here was that this would be potentially trapped buyers up here. Okay, up in this area here. Hold on. Oh, got to get out of that. Okay. Yeah. So this volume up here, this buy volume up here, as a potential trap, and then a stop run to the downside here. Okay, so just kind of thinking that at the moment, and we've just made an equal low into this 17 area here. I see a lot of selling though coming in and in here as well. So I'm still if we don't see a lot of buying coming in, if we get a low volume pullback in here, okay, not a lot of buying, which is not the case. So this idea is already done. It's a little less here compare the bars, compare the dots, but yeah, it doesn't. What I was looking for is if there was less volume here on that buy side, this would just be a pullback, and then we'll look for a continuation. Okay, but it's that idea is kind of shot here now because we're seeing buying coming back in. So we're really just back to this idea of range bound. Okay, so potential setup in here, it did not play out. Right. Anyway, let's get back. I just wanted to show you this and encourage you guys to sign up for this. It's free. So you do need Bookmap, but join the Bookmap Academy. There's a pathway to becoming more professional trader by documenting your trades. You can apply to the Bookmap Junior Academy, and if your content is good, then you will be invited to the Bookmap Junior Academy. And then from there, you create content, and if it's really good and you meet our thresholds, our quota, then you can be invited to Bookmap Academy. You can get Bookmap for free, and you can even get add-ons for free as well if you double that content. And then we have this step 3. If you continue to create great content for the Bookmap Academy, you can be invited to be a coach. And the beauty here of being a coach, you can get the data for free as well. But what I want to show here is the under let's see here. I still have it as unlisted. All right, so I'm sorry. Hold on a minute. I'll make this available. Hold on just a second. Okay. I don't know if it did it or not. Yeah, should be public. Okay. So let me put this into the chat for you guys. All right, here you go. All right, there we go. All right, so if you're interested in this, and why I'm covering this is Stephen is in here today. He's been putting a lot of effort into his trading. That's excellent. And we want to give feedback. And the feedback was to kind of, he's looking at a lot of things to focus and simplify, edit out, and focus on things and learn those few things really well instead of like trying to learn everything and put it all into like it's a big puzzle. We can just go through really simple things like a momentum trade or some simple kind of setup. In fact, we're just looking at cumulative volume delta in here and low volume pullback, which didn't unfold. All right, that's fine. Look at the selling momentum now. I like it. I'm looking for it to test down here. Okay, so down to the swing low and this liquidity. Well, we got liquidity here at 20 and 18 and a half or so. Okay, so anyway, let's. I want to bring up and talk about momentum maybe with cumulative volume delta in here, and I'm going to bring up Market Pulse, this tool that we use that everyone seems to like quite a bit. So we'll look at the S&P here. I got to get rid of that one. Get rid of all of these. Create a new one, and we will look at volume pressure for the ES. Let's bring that volume way down here. Okay. And we're going to add also look at price change in here. Oops. Sorry, guys. I got to add a new one here. Volume pressure. ES. Okay. Okay. All right. So very simple add-on here. Just looking at the volume pressures coming in here. So we're talking about momentum. So we're looking for it. We see the price change is working. Now, do we hear that volume come in? Not quite yet. Should. There we go. There it is. There it is. So there's our move into, well, 20 and then 1850. And let's see if we can hear this as well. You guys can hear it on YouTube, I know. We're looking for that continuation back down lower here. The volume pressure is still good. Still good. Okay, starting to slow down now. There it goes. So now we're getting a pullback, right? That's a low volume pullback though. Okay, we don't have much volume on this. We're still looking for continuation here. Okay, waiting for more sellers to come in. Okay, but we're waiting for those sellers here. We want to hear them come into the market. Okay, we can look for areas of pullback here. Right here. Okay. Just on the top of that range here. Now, do we get our sellers again? Do we hear them starting to come in? Not yet. Not yet. Still kind of back and forth after this pretty strong move here. Okay, let's hear. Do we hear them now? Not yet. Not yet. Okay, we should hear them now. It's just about to tick. Anyway, so using volume pressure in here, we can also look for the reversal that might happen here, right? And then what we'd be talking about in here is all of this volume being the trap. Okay, so we'll look for that scenario. If we'll hear volume pressure on the buy side, but it's going to have to happen, up here all the way up to it as well. But especially up here, we're looking for that volume pressure to come in, right? And then we can get like a mean reversion type of trade back to the high volume node or to the other side of the range up here. Okay, so a couple different scenarios in here, but we're using this market pulse volume pressure tool. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can hear it now. We should, and we're looking for there they are, just at the threshold here. Didn't quite make it. Okay, so anyway, this is what we covered on Friday. Was talking about traps, volume traps in here, and we covered it just in time before this unfolded, so we can see this move back up, and yeah, it might not be done yet. We're getting kind of a pullback here, and then we might get one more. Let's see if those buyers come in right now. And can lift this back up into just up into here around 25 or so. Okay, we should hear them start to come in here. Might have to lower the thresholds a little bit. Let's put it down to, let's try 58. Okay. There's an order book imbalance here on the bid. How do the traders react to it? There's some buying. Let's get a little bit more in here. Very careful here with this. I don't like seeing buying that cannot move the market. Okay, now watch. Let's see if we get our sellers actually now, because now we're looking at these guys as being the potential trap here. No, they're not. It's actually these sellers. A little bit of selling in here. Now we're getting that that move here by the buyers. Back to the top of the range. Not much here. We may come back up into this 25 level. I'm not hearing market pulse at the moment, so it's not significant volume. Yeah, Paul, I would agree. Like you could take these little scalps all day long, basically. Look for small imbalances, dump it off at the top of these small ranges, etc. We don't know the bigger move yet. Like what I mean to cover here, Paul, is like first we're looking for these guys to be the trap and then the sellers to drop. It was actually these little sellers in here. Here's the trap here. Now is these potential buyers that are the potential trap if sellers can get down here, right, and then move it. Okay, so that's why, like, I totally agree with you. You can find these little moves and dump them off at the top of the range, and then look, for the next little move. It may unfold into a bigger move, but we just don't know yet. Like right now, is it worth, like, I'm looking for these guys to be trapped up here. I'm looking for those sellers to come in. I don't see anything yet at the moment, but do you want to sell here? It doesn't make me feel comfortable. I would rather look for that low volume pullback and then try to sell down to the range here, and then get the follow through, and then my risk is so much less in that area. Yeah, let's see if we can get our move here. No order book imbalance at the moment on the offer. Anyway, let's clear these drawings. Another thing we like to do with this market pulse tool is the, in fact, let me put stops and icebergs back up here. Is to look at our correlated markets here. So let's we'll add the NASDAQ, and let's add also the Russell. And then we can add our correlated markets here. Sorry guys, hold on a minute here. Okay, that ought to do it. I'll put the NASDAQ here and the Russell here. All right. So Russell's selling off right now. ES is starting to sell off right now. Okay, NASDAQ has not quite yet. Okay, so let's see if we can get a low volume pullback, and then maybe we can get all these aligned in here. And then we're looking for that sell off into 14 here. So from like 17, 18 to 14. No, not yet. In fact, yeah, not looking too good here. They're selling here, lack of selling here, and then some buying, but it's not finished yet. It's not finished yet. Yeah, here we go. Now we should hear all of these pop off at the same time here. NASDAQ is not, right? So see how like we're reading or hearing this and kind of listening to the market and correlated markets here, but just looking at the S&P E-mini. This is something I really like about this market pulse tool. Is that I don't have to jump around and look at all my charts. I can hear it. I can look over here very, very quickly, and these are always on top if you want this market pulse tool. So can you hear that market starting to hit? Well, look at NASDAQ hitting the bid or the offer. Okay, they're on the bid here in NASDAQ. We should see the S&P and Russell follow suit. Let's see if we can get back up to the top of this range here, and then maybe even 25. We'd never made it to 25 yet. So anyway, we're looking for it. Okay. Let's see. You've got lots of questions in here, so let me try to get to them, or comments. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what to think about today. Like it looks to me like we're going to be kind of chopping around quite a bit. I mean, there's a lot of back and forth here right now. So I like your idea of just kind of scalping, if at all. You're trading like, and you're trying to hold for a bigger position. I don't know. Maybe try to go with the bigger trend, and then just take trades in that direction. And then try to hold for the follow through, but you might get stopped out at break even a lot, okay, on days like today. So maybe all in, all out, bottom of the range to the top of the range type of thing. Okay, because right now, yeah, here we go. We should get a drop here. We have 1, 2, 3. All of them are correlated here. Okay, so I would look for the next, a little more selling here, and I would look for these sellers to hit the bid into 14 or 15, just based off of this in market pulse. Okay, just market pulse. In the order flow here, I want to see a little more on the offer, and I want to see these guys on the bid pull. Okay, but it's looking good. There we go. There we go. Okay, now this is in line with what we've found in the past as well, using this market pulse tool, is that most of the time when we get our nicer moves, they all align with the stock indexes, right? And you can just, you're leaning on, we talked about this the last couple of weeks, we're leaning on these players here. This is another correlated, or another confluence is the correlated markets. And we're leaning on their behavior in here, looking for that move to unfold. And this unfolded nicely. This gave us, just by market pulse itself here, by these correlations in here, we were looking for that. Okay, we wanted to see a little more on the offer. Well, that actually came in as well in here. And we got our aggressors coming in, trading into liquidity at our 15, 14, and we're even lower here. Okay, so right now though, well, what do we see or hear? NASDAQ still, S&P still, so yeah, still lower, makes sense. Russell, nothing. So we're getting 2 out of 3 in this correlated market, or correlated markets here, right? So that isn't like as much as, it's not as much to lean on. Therefore, you know, you might, there's different ways to manage your trade, and maybe stay out of a trade unless you get all of them aligned, or maybe you take a position on, reduce your risk with less of a position. Okay, so many different ways to kind of slice and dice it, but we're leaning on, and we want as much on our side as possible. Okay, so see how we didn't get that that Russell here, and then now we're seeing the S&P kind of, you know, traded into 10, and it's starting to bounce a little bit. Makes sense here. We saw the NASDAQ starting to turn around a little bit. Okay, so these correlated markets in here, and you know, using this market pulse tool is pretty nice. To, you know, hear that market, and you don't have to go back and forth and look at, you know, various trade or charts in here. You don't have to jump back and forth like this. You don't have to have this on another monitor and look at it, right? That can be confusing, and you might miss something. Instead, I find it very comfortable to just hear that market, look over very quickly, and see how they're aligning, and then you know, go with that momentum. Okay, so yeah, now NASDAQ is starting to hit to the upside. Okay, but now the S&P is too. Okay, Russell, no. All right, this has given us some really good insights on this move to the downside, and then noticing not all are aligned, and then noticing 2 aligned, and then the move back up. Yeah, so Paul, you're using Market Pulse with the VIX as well. Okay. Yeah, well, the correlated markets, like you know, it can be kind of tricky. I think it's one of the best kind of indicators you can use, in my opinion, because you're leaning on many market participants from other markets to trade in the direction you're looking. Okay, and if you don't get that, well, then chop is probably more likely. And now again, this is something you got to study, and you got to know your correlations. Sometimes they disconnect, decouple, and other times they recouple back in together. So you know, what's important out there. fundamentally, like compared to crude oil, compared to gold, compared to the VIX, etc. Lots of questions to ask about that. Slow down, jungle beats. Yeah, yeah. We've even considered like making these different instruments. Like maybe this is your wood section. This is your the brass section, the a percussion section. I mean, you could have a symphony going off here, basically. When I talk about trap traders, it's people that made a mistake, um, and they pay for it. That's what we're talking about, Kenji. It's not market manipulation. It's I mean, maybe larger players can notice that people are trapped, and it's like try to push them uh, to cover, for sure. That I think that's but we're playing that game now too, right? So we're looking for that, because just very, very simple thing here. Like think about it. Uh, where are traders most compelled to trade? They're when they're in a position and they have to cover. I mean, they're that pushing the button is not, that's easy to do, but being to push that button and being forced to that's something else. And it's almost like you're more guaranteed to get trading activity, if you can get, and what kind of trading activity based on the trap, right? If that makes sense. We'll see it again and again. Like think about these guys up here, right? Top of the range up in here. Look at these buyers building a position. Where are they going to be out of control? Down below here. Okay, so we look for a stop run now. Below, they're testing it here. Okay, sellers are testing it. Can they follow through now? Looking for it. Okay, and looking for a stop run now. And the stop run will probably happen down here though. These buyers up here are like, oh God, oh boy, I've got it wrong. I got to hit sell. Right, so we want to keep an eye out with that, and also it's the same on the sell side. Where are the sellers in here? How many are in here? Well, think about this, like how many sellers are in here to get trapped? Not a whole lot. Maybe there's more now though. Look at that. All right, so can buyers lift it back up to here? Yeah, they can. Okay, it just touched the top of the range though. That's it. Okay, so just keep an eye out. There it is. Okay, so that's what we're looking for, is where are the sellers and buyers, and how do we know they're in control or not? This is something to look for, and Stephen, this is something that may help with clarification, as well as identifying trap traders. Just start with that, not like everything, just like where are the trap traders, and then can I confirm that as a stop run after? In fact, these buyers up here, this is a stop run. So it was these sellers down here that were trapped and covering up in here, right? And am I speculating? Not really. I mean, we know this is a stop run in here. And we know these are stop order transactions, and this is indicative of a stop run behavior here. Okay, so let's see here. All right, so the buyers now, let's see if we can see how sellers, we got a little bit of our stop run in here, not much though. Okay, and now we're looking at back and forth in here. Now we're looking for the buyers getting it wrong. Okay, well, here's exhaustion already on that buy side. So I'm looking for sellers actually right now, right here. They can get below this 17.25. It's on, right? I'm looking for the stop run to the downside, down into potentially 14 here. Okay. Now, let me take a step back on what I mentioned before. Who's in control in these moves right now? In this move right now, buyers are still in control. They took, sellers were here, they're upended. The buyers took control right around in here. Okay, we can see them come in. Okay, so that's what made this move and this move. They've been tested here and here, but they're still in control. I don't see sellers here. Right, that's why I'm looking for sellers here. Okay, I still don't see sellers here. Okay, so buyers are still in control. Let's see if they can move it then back up into this liquidity up here at 21 and a quarter. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, they're still in control. Where are they going to get out of control? It's still down here. Well, the real position is down here at 16, but I'm looking for like these guys in here, the majority of these guys in here to be out of control. And then looking for that sweep lower into 14. Okay, so right now they're still in control, so we're looking for our 21 and a quarter. Okay, so that's playing out pretty well. Yeah, I really I'm not trying to pick on you, Stephen, whatsoever. These markets are complex, or we want to just clarify and simplify, because going down that rabbit hole of over analysis is very dangerous. So it's much easier. Okay, excellent. As well as burnout. Yeah, absolutely. We want to avoid that. So stick with the simple, easy setups and get good at those. Something that resonates with you. You like your volume profile. Maybe look for exhaustion. Price being too high. What does it look like in the order flow for it to be too high? Now look at these guys. When we talked about this scenario already, I want to see really nice follow through here to the downside now. Okay, strong move, and we have our correlated markets. Everything looks pretty good. I want to see the Russell. There's the Russell. Okay, we should get a move then. Based off of that, I'm leaning on these guys and these buyers up in here being trapped. Okay, for the sellers to hit into this liquidity, and then momentum and continuation to the downside. Okay, so trap traders, where are they trapped, and what would happen if we get sellers down here? We're looking for that continuation, and we should get a stop run. You can see the stop run actually started up a bit higher up in here. So in this move to the downside, the red line here. One of the nice things about the momentum trade too, or this kind of momentum trade, it's not really a momentum day, but we looked at Market Pulse in here, 3 different correlated markets, all selling off. That's moving the ship. This is like a big battleship, and it's hard to turn that around. The market is selling off. So we're looking for a continuation of that sell-off. Okay, unless all 3 turn around and go the opposite way, which could happen. But for the most part, we're looking for that strong kind of move, some back and forth, followed by another momentum strong move to the downside. And that's how you can get these kind of flag, or continuation type patterns. Okay, so, and that's what we're looking for here as well. Okay, so now I got kind of a bunch of stuff on the chart. Let me try to clarify just what we were looking for, because one of the scenarios played out. It was these buyers in here. Okay, you can even see the retest back here, which is interesting. Back to where these buyers came in. Right, so and then we're looking for these sellers to really press on it here. Okay, and try to drive it away from these guys and get our big stop run maybe to the low of the day here at 10. All right. How to avoid the trap? Well, be on the right side. How do I mean, like And how do you know you're not in the trap either? It's true. It's a really good point. Well, you know, the more you can have on your side, the better. Okay, so that's what we're here for, is to go through trying to get the most advantage we can on our side. And that might be correlations. It might be the order book. It might be the volume. It's the context. Now, see the buy volume that came in here. We're looking for the move lower now. I'm looking for the follow through to the downside now. Okay, so because I know that these guys are trapped, right? So I'm looking for this now. Okay, and we were looking for that earlier. So that's how to kind of try to go and be on the right side. Now, how do you know that? Well, once you start to see some of that selling in this area in here, especially in here, I think around 15.5, that's when you know it, right? Or you have a higher probability of it working out. Okay, many times I've had it many times, it doesn't, but this is what we're looking for. We saw that momentum move. Okay, we identified these traders as being potentially trapped. We do have the stop run here. We had the correlated move in here, and then we're still looking for that correlated move, right? It was just chop back and forth, and then these buyers in here, I know they're trapped. They've got to be. They tried and they can't. These are the guys you want to trade with. Okay, so you don't want to be that trader here. Okay, so how to avoid it in this one? Well, this one might be pretty easy or easier. Here's how. Look at the condition of the sellers in here. How many sellers are in here? Not a whole lot. You know, I mean, it's really kind of back and forth in here. So I'm not looking for that stop run to the upside. Okay, I want to get these guys. I want to trade with those guys and be on this side of the move to the downside. Okay, down to this 10 area. Right, so this here, I'm looking for it to fail. It couldn't even, once it failed above the range in here, and I see the sellers come in, I'm looking for the continuation. Okay, now it's a very fair question about how to avoid that trap. Okay, so you know, you're trading against these guys here. Well, what if they win the battle? What would that look like? Right, so let's go through that scenario. Okay, so we would look for these sellers in here to make this low here, maybe a higher low in here, and the sellers dry up. It's just some selling comes in here. Maybe high liquidity comes in here. There's many different scenarios that might unfold. There might be really high liquidity coming in here, and it absorbs that selling pressure. And then so what you would have is this big selling cluster here. Okay, and then buyers come in above it here. Right, so then that's when you know that there's a potential trap by the sell side here. Okay, and then you're looking for these buyers to come in and move it up, squeeze these guys. Okay, so and again, we're not making this stuff up, because here it is again in front of us. See these sellers here? See the trap and the move back up, okay, by these buyers. All right, so that's why we've talked about these kind of pivot points, or you can say where, you know, resistance turns into support, or vice versa. And anyway, like it's not a setup in itself. It's a part of a setup that you're looking for. Okay, so you know, you want to see that within your setup. So you know, if you're like top of the range here, maybe it's a volume profile that you're looking at. Maybe it's you know, just a range bound trade, and you're looking to fade the top of the range in here. Maybe you're looking at cumulative volume delta, whatever it might be, you know, to give you some insight in here. But identify trap traders as a part of it. That should make much higher probability outcome. Okay? It should. It's something to go back and test and study. Okay, now look at these guys coming in. Okay, so this is a great back and forth action today, and this is new. There's some stops in here. These guys are getting stopped out on the way back up, But there's also a lot of looks to me like a lot of new buying. So I am looking for back to the top of the range here. Let's see, here's NASDAQ hitting, S&P not quite. All right, so it's not as good as I thought. You know, now NASDAQ is tapering off. Okay, Russell hasn't gotten there yet. So I don't have a lot of, although I see strong volume here, I don't have a lot of credence in this yet due to the correlations. Absorption tracker. Okay, Paul, let's see. I don't, and I know we're working on a absorption. I don't even know if I have access to it. No, I do not. Well, support and resistance. This is a new one. We're making a lot of changes. New algos in here. A lot of new developments. Here's the pop up above here. Now we kind of stayed away from it because we didn't have the correlations, right? So you know, hey, it did it anyway. All right. Well, what about fading that now? Since we didn't have correlations in here, if we had the correlated markets in here, you know, on our side, the buyers on our side, well, we'd look for maybe a pullback and continuation. Okay, now because we didn't have that, it's like I'm looking for another potential trap here. These guys. Okay, and let's see if we can get our sellers to try to drop it back down to test here or here. All right. So anyway, I want to be really aware. Like my heart kind of went out to Steven about trying to make things simple, and just go with those simple things that instead of like, well, it might do this, it might do that. Like you know, now we're getting this NASDAQ and S&P, and Russell's almost there. All right, so let's look at this. Well, maybe this is a higher time frame move, right? So we're getting them. All right, well then let's see. I'm looking for actually then in this case, just due to the correlations here, like maybe we can get a steep move up into 30 or 29, something like that. Okay, so now I'll kind of slow down for a moment. Let's look for a pullback, and then let's look for a continuation. That was a beautiful stop run though, as well. So a lot of people getting stopped out on this move here. A lot. 400. That's pretty big. So that gives us additional information in here. All right, let's take a step back. Let's look at our bigger picture. It looks horrible in here. I mean, look at the wicks on both sides here, right? But we've been identifying it pretty well for a range-bound trade, or range-bound trading, looking for like these traps and then move back into the range and etc. Okay, so here's a spike above these the last half hour of activity here. Here's a spike above it and the rejection. Okay, stop run above it, rejection. I still see buying pressure in here in this 15-minute chart. Okay, but I'm looking for those sellers now, and then the move potentially back down into 10 and then low of the day here. Or that would be low of the day. I'm sorry, low of this day over here. A lot of selling that just came in. Moved it right back down. All right, so let's watch for it. All right, so let's go through another scenario here. Very simple one. First, we want to see our trapped volume by the buyers up in here. Okay, then down below here is just one scenario. Down below here, we're looking for our sellers to come in, okay, and then move this lower. All right, so then that would make sense with also this kind of pattern like that. Okay, did we get enough? Do we see a good trap up here? No, we don't. So I hold off. Yeah, a lot of icebergs, Paul. Absolutely at 43.40. Paul, I would recommend or encourage you to sign up for that Bookmap Academy if you haven't already. You're new in here. You're perfect for it. Apply for that Bookmap Junior Academy, and we'll go through. We go through people's. We're just starting this up. Going through people's activity now. Here's see our trap now, guys. So we can identify these things in the trader reviews in the Bookmap Academy, and then we can look at some of your trading activity and give some feedback on it, right? So now we got a trap, right? So now we're looking for that. We were looking for that trap potentially here. What happened here? Okay, now we're looking for our sellers to drive it lower because we got a nice little trap, and this is like the trap is just a part of it. Okay, and it's not necessary, but when it's there, it really helps. Okay? And it's something we can easily identify, and it makes our outcome more probable once we can identify it, because we're going with these sellers here, pull back, the trap, and then sellers coming in again. Okay, so that's what we're trying to identify, and look for these guys to have to cover, and then go with the bigger move here, and the bigger move is here. Okay, again, this is a nice little trap up in here too. Might get one more push, but I'm looking for sellers right here at 17.5 or so. It looks good, and we're not getting them yet, not yet, right? Well, that can be even more fuel here. Okay, once we get down below. Automatic mode better than manual for sweeps. Yeah, I like it. I like it better. I'll show you why with the sweeps. Okay, so let's see if we can get our sellers here, looking for them. Yeah, this isn't the greatest. We came back up here. We do see this buying in here and this buying up in here as the potential trap. Okay, so now it looks really good for a potential trap. Right, so where are we looking for our sellers? Probably right around here, around 1875. And now let's see the sellers drop the hammer. Okay, so we're down there. We have an order book in balance. We got our sellers, and now we're looking for the continuation here. Okay, and we're not hearing market pulse. So that gives me a little bit of pause. So maybe take some off at the bottom of the range. No, just that. I want to hear market pulse really start to ring right now at 17. No, it's the opposite. Okay, so let's cover this here. So this was the potential trap. This is the sell side. Bottom of the range, we talked about not having all the pieces here and potentially taking some off, and you'd get stopped out at break even. Okay, because we don't know, like now you might be in the trap. We might be in the trap here. Okay, so how that's how, does that make sense? I think Alchi, or I think, who was it? Oh yeah, you had Alci had asked about the trap and being on the right side or wrong side. Okay, how to manage it if you're on the wrong side. Just get out. I mean, really take, if you're not getting all the pieces that you're looking for in the picture here, in the order flow, then you know, bottom of the range, like reduce that risk. Okay. Now, if you had all the pieces, then you can hold on to it, right? And it still might not work out. And then how do you handle if it doesn't? Okay, so like you don't want to be in the trap because you get squeezed and you can really get hurt if this comes up to like 25. And this kind of stuff happens all day long. So it looks like it's going to try to squeeze, but let's see now. We also know that here is the same idea. Okay? That those buyers in here, we can get down below 19, look out. Right? We can get a really nice move back down to 10. This is why also you can see it for trend line traders, you know, break of the trend line, sellers come in, you know, but try to identify the buyers being off sides. Yeah, let me get to okay, see what's hitting here. Oh, we see NASDAQ buyers. Okay, interesting. That's odd. Well, sellers are starting to creep up. No, just NASDAQ buying. S&P price change. Again, even with this in here, it's kind of interesting to look at market pulse. Price change, it's making sense. You know, we see a price change here. Okay, so that's what's sounding off right now. Okay, but we're not getting volume pressure behind it. So, you know, that's where you can kind of look at ATR strategies, or, you know, try to get some insight. Like, well, it's got the price change, but it doesn't have the necessarily the volume pressure behind that price change. Okay, so you can look for a fade. You know, look for top of the range type of thing, and then a fade. Right, so I mean, these things they can tell you a lot. All right, you can see what happened here. So we have both NASDAQ and S&P trading up into this 25 level here, and we would have been in here looking for that move and continuation, like this scenario here, right? All right, so here's an example where it didn't play out, but we did get some of the move, and we mentioned like, well, we don't have the correlated markets together here. Take some off, stop at break even, look for the next thing. Not all of these are going to work out, and how do you protect yourself? Having that backup plan, how to protect yourself, is really essential. All right, so all three markets now more or less are correlated here. So let's see if we can get move up into 30. Maybe highs of the day now is what we're looking for. 32, 33. All right, let me go to over Paul's question here. Let me clear the drawings and look at the sweeps indicator here. The sweeps indicator is fantastic. In fact, that was part of it, was sweeps and absorption indicator all in one, and then we traders wanted them both, so we split them apart. So let's take a look here. It's here. Okay. Okay. So here, automatic mode, I really preferred, this is, let me explain how it works in automatic mode, Paul. So the very, very simple indicator, 0.01 seconds, this many traded. Now you can see it's 452, right? Minimum of 2 price levels. And it's in automatic mode. You can see it's grayed out in here, so I can't change this in here because it's basically in automatic mode. It means within 30 minutes we have a kind of a number in here that you can, it's a sliding multiplier in here, but it's like a standard deviation. Okay, that's what the SD is here. So standard deviation within that 30-minute period. If it goes over that deviation, then you'll see that number. You'll see it, the output here. All right, so it has to be above that in order to output. And you see it. See how it just dropped quite a bit here. All right, so let's take a look at it here. Maybe it's a little too high, right? So let's bring down this multiplier. Okay, I'll refresh it by just reselecting it here. And let me zoom out too. So you can see a few in here now. See the little green and then the red down here. So basically, based off of the price action within that 30-minute period, you can start to filter for it. So what that allows you to do, Paul, is to just look for the bigger sweeps that make more sense to you. And that's why I recommend it. So it's not, because otherwise it might be a little too much. If we put it in manual mode here, and then let's say bring it down to like, I want to look at 60, filter for 60, where you might see too many now. Okay, as you can see here, let's just dim the heat map. Here are the green ones, here are the red ones, or the purple ones. This isn't bad, actually. I don't mind this view. I don't think it's too much for me. It's still giving me some pretty good insight. There was a book sweep up here. Well, just a couple levels. Okay, nice kind of sweep to the downside here. Couple levels as well, 3 in here, right in here. And then also in here. All right, guys. So, and again, like now we're seeing again this. We saw that move up. We're looking for potentially 30 to trade now because of those correlated markets. We had a pretty big pullback to the top of the range in here, and we still see buyers coming in here. So it's not a low volume pullback. They're still buying in here. Okay. And what about this this as being a potential low volume pullback in here on the sell side? Not really either. It is less than the buying in here, but it's still pretty significant. This can keep you, just that simple filter right there can keep you out from taking potential trades here. Okay? Only when they align is when you want to take it. So you have to be patient. You have to wait, and you wait for what you know works. Whatever you want, Paul. I mean, like play around with it, zoom in and out, and where do you get the most insight? It really depends. So you know, if you're zoomed in here and you want to look at that sweep, so you're probably going to see a sweep in here or in here for sure. You're definitely going to get a sweep on many time frames right now. And look at that stop run, guys. Yikes. That's a big one. Really big. All right, it's up to what, 13, almost 1400, and it started here down at 500. So it's like 900, 1,000 or something up in here. All right, so let's I'll try to kind of wrap it up in here. We talked about a few different things. We talked about trap volume, and then being on the right side, or how to kind of judge that, how to look for something that might be putting you on the right side. We talked about these momentum moves, or using market pulse, understanding what some of the power behind some of these moves, but also the correlated markets, and how that has been a nice filter as well to look for something higher probability. And then we talked about yeah, I don't know, different ranges in here, and range bound trading, and how to kind of look for trades back up to the tops of ranges, etc., or bottoms of ranges, and when these things come into play. That's really the key, is when they come into play. And we covered the sweeps here. What else did I cover? Oh, so many different things. And this has been a really choppy day. Yeah, but we saw some good things in a choppy day. This is really strong momentum here on this 15-minute chart, like big green bars, right? Well, look at the volume behind those big green bars too. How big are they? They're not that big. It's kind of tapering off in here. Okay, so how much do you believe in this move here? I mean, the volume looks good. It looks like a perfect continuation pattern in here. Strong volume, tight little range, looking for strong volume up into 40. All right, well, all right, so let's if for that idea, we're looking for not this. Okay, look at that liquidity here on the offer. It just came in at a lower level here, and it's 3 different layers here. Okay. Now we also had the buyers just took them on. Okay, and look at this battle here between buyers and sellers in here, and this is a good one because we have all these limit orders in here. These limit orders got filled up here as well. Okay. They just got filled here, and they're in again, okay, at this lower level in here. Right, so what we were looking for earlier, and this is where you can start to put these pieces together by reading Bookmap and the order flow. If you don't have that, this is what it looks like. You don't know what this relationship and this context in here or up in here. You have no clue. You have no clue that they're in the order book also right now, up in these levels. Now you can look at your CO, your dome, and see them, but like, how long were they in there? What about this area in here that transacted? You wouldn't know that, right? Now, where are they now? They're down here, more or less, a little bit in here as well, but mostly down here, around 30. Okay, so then let's turn that heat map back on and get more insight here. Okay, so they're down here at 30, and now we have this context. It's still kind of dark in here. So buyers kind of trying to go back up. Now we can tie these things back in. Okay, what about buyers up in here being trapped? And then we can get down below here, and then look for those sellers to come in. Okay? Then move that market down into 30. Right? So it's an idea. And is this scenario playing out? That's what we have to answer. Not yet. Yeah, look at that iceberg, Alois, from 30, raised price up six points. Oh, I'm sorry. No, the iceberg is in here, right? This is the one you're talking about. Talking about here. That's too high though. All right, not seeing much right now. Not seeing much of anything. Now this is the London close, or is it? The time is just shifted. I'm not sure. What time is it in London right now? Yeah. Okay. So this should be the close. 4:30 p.m. Okay. Anyway, big wall of liquidity up here, and yeah, would love to see it get filled. Would love to see it turn around and then come back down the other way. Okay, 43.50 is volatility. You're looking at your options, Paul? Yeah, with your gamma. Yeah. Okay, this is an interesting move here. It traded into this high liquidity here, and there's still more buying pressure up here. So just stay away. No, at least I am. Like I would love to see it come back down to 34 here, and then see some sellers. Right, then I could trade it down to 32, maybe take some off, and then look for the continuation. Right, and then at that point, I do know that these guys are the potential trap. All right, guys, I need to go. So thanks for coming, everybody. Don't forget about that Bookmap Academy if you're interested, and that can. Boy, we've seen our buyers come in hand over fist here. So there's a lot of buying pressure still in here, right? So yep, it's kind of an odd move in here. We have high liquidity is getting filled. They're back in again in here, but we're still seeing our buying pressure. So it's we have a kind of a big battle happening in here, and I'm still kind of looking for this to potentially fade here, and the buyers just give up and have these sellers really try to move it the opposite way. But anyway, we're looking for it, right? It could be beautiful right here around that 34 area. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Thanks for coming, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time. All right, take care. Bye bye.